Previously, on Night of the Serpent. The next morning, as the heroes of Red Bazaar awaken in the ruins of Mambala, their camp is approached by three very strange visitors. A trio of goblins, each wearing a crudely made wooden mask, and each with only one arm. 13 is the first to attempt to establish communication, but is thwarted. You see, in my setting, Goblin is a very peculiar language. It is composed entirely of one-syllable phonemes that rhyme and repeat. So like one goblin might be named Bok, and whenever they speak, they would say Bok-tok, or Bok-tok-yak, so on and so forth. More importantly, there is, as of yet, no non-magical means to translate Goblin into Common, or for a non-native Goblin speaker to speak Goblin. There's just no Rosetta Stone. No one has ever been able to sort of cross the streams in that way. So communication, then, between the party and these three goblins is pretty much limited to pantomime. But they obviously don't mean the party any harm, and they're trying to communicate something to them, maybe that they should follow. 13, in their way, immediately becomes obsessed with deciphering their language, whereas Heck, being Heck, is, of course, suspicious of them. They eventually learn the goblins' names. There's Wug, the fearless leader, there's Gek, his fearful follower, and there's Jab, who is a bottomless pit of hunger. After some confused negotiation, the sleepless heroes agree to follow, though they have no idea where the goblins will lead them. There's some hilarity in descending the plateau, but once back on the ground, the party, plus their three strange guides, depart northward into the jungle, crucially away from both Oralunga and their other two previous landmarks, the Heart of Ubtao and the Tower of Fire. They're heading into uncharted wilderness with three goblins as their guides. Goblins don't make the best guides. They clearly know where they're going, but they argue almost constantly about the best way to get there. They're quarrelsome and impulsive and stupid, but they're kind of endearing in their weird way, and the party starts to fall in love with them individually. Wug takes dumb risks for no reason. At one point, he eats some poisonous mushrooms and nearly asphyxiates. Gek is terrified of everything and everyone, including and especially Jab. And Jab is a voracious, murderous little devil, and her near-constant hunger is kept at bay only by generous helpings of porridge from the party's amphora of alchemy. On alternate nights, Eku, still trapped in 13's body, agrees to eat the party's dreams. But these dreams begin to intensify, each one adding new twists and developments. Heck sees a rain of blue feathers that falls from the sky. The Heart of Ubtao twists and interlocks like a puzzle above the drowning 13. The ziggurat that Gûlwyf sees now has a red flashing light at its summit. When Eku does this, however, 13 must cede more control to the coatl, and for increasingly long stretches of time, the tabaxi becomes a helpless passenger inside their own body as Eku does the driving, so to speak. One night, the party is ambushed by grung, tree frog-like natives that favor poison and ambush. It's a complex encounter, the party surrounded by these massive kapok trees. Poison darters pepper the party, and when struck, 13 surrenders control to the coatl to help cure their poison. Up in the branches, grung wildlings cast spike growth all over the campsite, and then use the spell Thorn Whip to deadly effect. But with illusions and radiant blasts and a little hammer work, the party manages to drive the grung away. When the dust settles, Gek is fatally poisoned. Wug is fallen unconscious but manages to survive, and Jab earns her stripes, throwing rocks at the frog folk and never once taking a hit. After the battle, the goblins, and Gûlwyf, happily eat the dead Gek. After a few more days, the goblins begin to grow excited. They start pointing out landmarks, a fallen tree here, a mossy boulder there, as though the party would recognize them, but of course the heroes have no idea where in the jungle they are. Then they come upon a statue, incongruously clean, on a mound in the midst of the jungle. It's a shield guardian, and it's obviously Vorn, the artifact stolen by the late artist Cimber from his wife, Alessandra Otamu, of the Torch Ever Burning. As the goblins throw themselves at the feet of the statue and begin to worship their great steel icon, the adventurers notice 3 Torch Ever Burning goons, their throats slit, heaped at Vorn's feet. Gûlwyf even recognizes one of them as the elven blade dancer she dueled in Malar's throat. As the goblins attempt to lean them onward, then, the party is torn. They theorize that Alessandra must have run afoul of the goblins while she was searching for the Shield Guardian and may well now be their captive. Heck desperately wants the Shield Guardian to help them on their quest, and thinks that this might be the chance to seize the amulet and Vorn. Gûlwyf could care less, but 13 actively wants nothing to do with the great cumbersome thing. The party remains unresolved as the goblins lead them, after a few more days, to their hidden village. And that's where we stopped. How did the session go? Well, in a sharp break from tradition, I actually don't think it went that well. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't necessarily a bad session, but after having 2 sessions I thought were really successful, climbing the plateau and fighting Nanny Poo-Poo, it's only naturally would have kind of a slump episode. The goblins were certainly and obviously the highlight. I had a lot of fun role-playing them. I think the players really enjoyed their antics. There's just a lot of fun with kind of how dumb and charming and goblin-like they were. The language barrier actually turned out to be really fun. I was worried it was one of those world-building things that was interesting to think about, but not really fun to play. I was actually very deliberate in naming the goblins to make sure that none of their names ended up being accidentally offensive when iterated out too far. The encounter with the grung was cool. It was complex. It was almost a little bit too complex. It might have been right up to that line. A lot of range stuff. I had some interesting poisons that could affect the party. The most interesting to me were the grung wildlings, essentially like their shamans. Because they had so few hit points, I wanted to find a way to put them up in the trees and have them still be useful without putting them in actual danger on the ground. And by looking at their spells, I came up with what I thought was kind of a cool combination. They would cast Spike Growth on the entirety of the camp, which, is good on its own. But then they would use Thorn Whip to whip the characters, pick them up, drag them through the air, like up towards the tree branch, and then let them go, and they would fall the 10 feet, hit the ground, and hit the spikes. So it was the Thorn Whip damage, it was the 1d6 falling damage, and then it was the spike damage when they landed. So I thought that was like a nice way to kind of stack that up. It only happened once or twice, but it felt really satisfying when it worked out. The low points in the session, I don't think Eku and 13 was as successful as they were in their debut. I was just feeling tired. I was having a difficult time keeping up with 13, and eventually at one point while they were negotiating, Kay specifically asked me not to continue to copy them, so that way they could communicate with the party better, and that kind of felt like a rebuke. So I'm going to have to figure out some way to make this still work, because I don't foresee Eku leaving 13's body for some time. There was also kind of a long and unproductive argument about the Shield Guardian. Now, the thing with Vorn is that I wanted to follow up the hook that was originally in Port Nyanzaru, and I felt like this was the good time. They're probably not going to be in this area again. In the book, this is approximately where Vorn is, but there isn't as much emphasis placed on Vorn in the actual adventure. But I am a little bit worried about dragging the Shield Guardian around the whole adventure. It's one of those things that seems cool when you read it in the text, but then when you come to the idea of, like, well, now the party has a Shield Guardian, it gets to be kind of a pain. Heck really, really wants it. 13 really, really doesn't. Gûlwyf's in the middle. I'm really not sure how it's going to shake out. I feel like it would be a shame for them not to end up with the Shield Guardian, but I think the key is maybe to not let the Shield Guardian become a permanent member of the party. I mean, we're going to have to see how they deal with the goblins anyways. They're about to go into their village, and there's some surprises waiting for them, for sure. But overall, yeah, it was good. I don't think it was great. I think I can definitely do better, and I'm hoping that's what next session brings. What did you think about the session? Did you have any questions about the way I'm running Tomb of Annihilation or the way I ran this particular session? How much does language and shared languages factor into your campaigns? A lot? A little bit? Not at all? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Make sure you like the video and subscribe, and tune in next time to find out what happens next on Night of the Serpent. Until then, happy adventuring.